Hello, Travis Collins. Ooh, Travis Collins. You're back. You're back up.
Yep.
Oh! Dude, Travis thinks he's good. Go. Whee! Ah! Ah!
I figured the best way to combine astronomy with March Madness was to do an astronomy project using a basketball. So hey, let's get started.
Sorry.
This ball here represents Earth. Perfectly dividing the northern and southern hemispheres is the equator. The line at which the sun can be directly overhead, northernmost, is the Tropic of Cancer, right here, 23.5 degrees north. The southernmost point at which the sun can be directly overhead is right here, this black line, the Tropic of Capricorn, 23.5 degrees south. Top of the ball is the North Pole. Bottom of the ball is the South Pole. The imaginary line extending between the two poles is called the axis on which the Earth rotates. The interesting thing about the Earth, though, is that it's not perfectly vertical. It's actually tilted at 23.5 degrees, like this, called the axis tilt. The center of our solar system is represented by that duck right there, is the sun. The Earth, which resides right there, third planet from the sun in the solar system. The seasons are caused by the Earth rotating around the sun. At this point, right there, we are at the summer solstice, June 21st. As the Earth rotates around it, at this point right there where he stops is the fall equinox, September 23rd. The next point over here, December 21st, is the winter solstice. And this final point up here at the front is March 20th, the spring equinox. That line way in the distance, called the horizon.
Dude, is that Zarinsky right there?
Straight out there, that's the horizon, which is also 0 degrees altitude. Straight above us is the zenith, 90 degrees altitude. Every morning the sun rises about right over there. It follows the ecliptic path through the sky. There's the sun, and the sun sets somewhere over there in the west. That is straight north, 0 degrees azimuth. That is straight east, 90 degrees azimuth. That is straight south, 180 degrees azimuth. And that is straight west, 270 degrees azimuth. Alright, a nice way of calculating the altitude of something in the sky is to use your hand. Pinky is 1 degrees. 3 fingers is 5 degrees. Whole hand is 10 degrees. Longhorns is 15. And hang loose is 25. For people on both hemispheres of the world, it'd be very convenient to be able to look up in the night sky and know which direction is north or south. In our book, they call the North Star, directly above the North Pole, a polar star. For us in the northern hemisphere, we have a polar star called Polaris to guide us at night. The North Star, which, if you knew that north was right there, is at the end of the Little Dipper's handle, which, if you can see right, that right there would be the Little Dipper. So the very end of it, tip star, the most prominent star in the Little Dipper, would be Polaris. During the time of slavery in America, it was common for slaves to flee to safety of the north through the Underground Railroad. They did this by using Polaris to guide them by night. One of the brightest constellations that can be seen from the southern hemisphere is the Southern Cross, which when you look up in the sky is something kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4 bright stars. Too bad I probably won't ever get a chance to see this since it's only visible from the southern hemisphere. The Southern Cross, or the crux, is helpful for knowing which general direction is south, although it's too far from the celestial South Pole to be considered a polar star. So when you look at it, it makes kind of a cross, like that. Fun fact about the Southern Cross is that on the Australian flag, which is right here, they actually use the Southern Cross in it. So here's the typical view of the northern sky that I showed you earlier, north being right there. Well, what we learned about in class are there's 5 circumpolar constellations, which I have outlined right here, make them very easy to spot. The lines drawn. Ursa Major, also called Big Bear, is probably the most familiar constellation in the night sky, which can be seen year-round because it's one of the circumpolars. After doing some reading in our book, I found out that the Big Dipper isn't actually an official constellation. Now, the Big Dipper is actually something called an astrum, which means it's a pattern within a star constellation. So, right here, the whole bear is Ursa Major, while the dipper shape there is the Big Dipper that most people see in the sky. Oh, and did you know in England they call this constellation Charlie's Wagon? Just a little fun fact. So that was Ursa Major, which is right here. The next constellation is Ursa Minor, which is right here, also called Little Bear, although if it was a bear it'd have quite the long tail. There you go. Anyways, this constellation is important because the tail of the bear is Earth's celestial North Pole. Ursa Minor is commonly referred to as the Little Dipper because the 7 brightest stars form the shape of a Big Dipper, like so, although there are other stars that make up Ursa Minor. Enough with the bears already, let's talk about a royal family up in the sky. Cepheus, which if you can spot it, looks like a giant house. The Greeks named this starry collection after their famous Ethiopian king, Cepheus. You know how the 2 guide stars of the Big Dipper point to Polaris? Well, if you follow that guide just past Polaris, you can find the top star of Cepheus. That. Alrighty. This is how it would be situated, but I will rotate it so that you can see Cepheus laying down. Alright, so the square is his head, the triangle there is his leg. So his foot would be on Polaris, actually. Since Cepheus is made of only fainter stars, he's a bit tricky to find unless you are somewhere where there's hardly any light pollution and no moon. The 4th constellation I'm going to go to is Cassiopeia, which in Greek mythology was a beautiful but arrogant wife of King Cepheus. Her constellation can be recognized easily in the night sky because of this distinct W shape of 5 bright stars right there. This is a large image of what is depicted of her. The W shape represents her sitting on a royal throne, admiring herself. By far the largest constellation we can see in the sky is Draco, which is wrapping all the way around here. His head up there. There's a nice big visual for you. Alright, so the Greek story goes something like this. Hercules was trying to steal the golden apples of Hesperides from Hera, the wife of Zeus. Now Hera was smart and guarded these golden apples with the dragon, although Hercules outsmarted this plan by simply playing a liar to put Draco to sleep. Afterwards, Athena grabbed the dragon's tail and threw him into the sky, right between Ursa Minor and Ursa Major. His body then curls around Ursa Minor and back up in the other direction, like so. Well, there you have it, the 5 circumpolar constellations that are always above the northern sky for us to see.
Wow, 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 wow. Bow, bow. Watch this, dude. I'm upside down now, dude. Watch it. Oh, oh, oh. But you didn't think it. Okay.
Alright, over the house, in the bucket.
Oh.